welcome back. Today we are going to do a wood grain vinyl, and I'll show you how to layer vinyl as well. So this is what it looked like. So the first thing is you're going to take some alcohol ink. I use Sepia, and I just put it in a little plastic dish that I use with my alcohol inks when I'm doing designs. And I took a 1-inch flat brush that I got, I'm pretty sure from like Walmart or something, that I also use for wood grain. And I already have Oracal 631 white, matte white vinyl. I'm not sure how this does on glossy, but I used a matte white, and I just dipped the brush in to the alcohol ink and just started going in one direction. So I'm going back and forth, but it's all going down. I went on my other side. So I already had my design sized out and ready to cut. I just needed to do the wood grain part. So what I did was I went back and forth with the flat brush and got as much as possible, but tried not to do it as if I was painting it. I didn't want to cover it completely. So then I took a little skinny brush, again, cheap brush from Walmart or Michael's, added some more alcohol ink to the cup, and then added line. So it's better if you go over the paper because you don't want the ends showing in your design. You want it to seem like it's going all the way through. So I literally just try to cover up those white spots by going back and forth, and it adds a little bit more detail into the wood grain. So you're literally just going to go back and forth, and don't do too much, and just keep going with the alcohol ink, dipping it back in and adding more as needed. So after you're done, you're just going to let it dry, and then, which doesn't take long, maybe 5-10 minutes, then you are going to cut your design. Since this is Oracal 631 and I have a Cricut maker, I did the premium vinyl setting, and then I did it on more pressure. So at that point, I had already pre-cut some clear vinyl. I'll have to link where I got it below because I don't remember, but I did some clear vinyl after already cutting my design out. And then I added the vinyl on top. Now, once this pushed out, I did not touch my computer. All I did was lay the vinyl on. Be careful to avoid any bubbles. So I did this 2 different ways. On this first one, I didn't take the entire sheet off of the backing paper yet. I just rolled it down like that, which seemed easier than the next way that I did it. But I try to line it up as good as I can. And then I took the other, and I made sure I pushed it down, scraped it down. You don't have to use a Cricut tool for this. You can use a credit card or any type of scraping tool just to make sure that that clear vinyl is really sticking on there. Then the next piece, I just took off the entire back. I took it off the backing completely and laid it down, and then used the tool to make sure that I was thoroughly on the design. Now, the reason why you don't want to touch your computer after this cuts is because you're going to put it back in to cut again, and you don't want it to end up overlapping the design that you already cut out. So be careful not to do that. When I originally tried to do this design, I had put the clear backing on first and then tried to cut it, and it didn't cut all the way through, so I decided this was just easier to do it this way. Once you're done putting that on, you are literally just going to load the mat back in and then hit cut, and it'll cut right back out. So at this point, you are going to weed the vinyl, and you're going to weed the entire thing, but you're going to need to be careful as you do this so that it doesn't rip off the clear sheet. So the reason why I put the clear sheet over the wood grain vinyl is because if I wanted to use transfer tape to transfer the decal to the tumbler, it would have taken the wood grain off of the vinyl that I had painted on. So this just protected the wood grain so that it wouldn't get ruined being put onto the tumbler. So this decal was very tedious because there were a lot of small parts. So you just have to be gentle as you pull up and make sure if a piece does come up, you put it back where it was. Because this one at least is going to be layered onto other pieces. So I didn't want to move the pieces too much to where I wouldn't be able to. So I went through and I cut all the excess I had already pulled off. That way I didn't have to worry about it sticking down onto any of the other decals. So just be careful as you're weeding. And again, you want to keep that clear sheet on there. So be careful as you're pulling up the vinyl that you're not just pulling up the clear sheet. At this point, I had already pulled up the original name in Woodgrain with some transfer tape and just laid it down gently over top of the offset of this. I will post another video on how I get my offsets for my name. It's super easy. It's just an app on your phone, and it's super quick to do. So it'll be a short tutorial on how to do that, but I will upload that soon. So this one has 4 layers. One of them you're not seeing here because I'm going to put it on once I already put the design onto the tumbler. But I did the top piece first and the one with the smallest amount of vinyl because it would just be easier in the way that this design is layered. And I made sure everything was stuck to the transfer tape, and then I laid it over top of the next design. Now when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that my transfer sheet is big enough to hold the next design so that I can pull it up and then put it on the design after that. And this is how I layer my vinyl. There are a lot of other ways to do it. This is just the way that I found easiest for me to do. I usually just eyeball it and move it how the best that I can. But again, you do what is best and easiest for you. So after I did this, I laid it on the black background and then I put it onto the tumbler, which unfortunately I did not film as I thought I was. And then I added the white of the eyes that was a part of the decal. And then there you go. Next layers for me to epoxy. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video and leave questions below.